Hello everybody. At the time of recording this, it is still June 21st, 2025. Today's my birthday. I turned 33. I was born at 5:34 p.m. June 21st, 1992, which happened to be Father's Day. This birthday is not special. What I've recently decided to do is start going over what the cost was for me to continue on this year. I lost a lot. My marriage my marriage was officially disillusioned. I lost my service animal. I lost my dog. I lost my girlfriend. She broke up with me on New Year's, ironically, of 2025. And I have to live with my parents because what I do for work isn't substantial enough to pay me to do basic living here in Illinois. But I run a nonprofit for veterans, and that is my sole focus at the moment. So this is a pretty heavy year. And this segues into what I think the next year is going to be like. For a long time, I've used my birthday as a sort of New Year's. So basically, instead of celebrating New Year's, I celebrate my birthday and New Year's, because it's one rotation around the sun that I've made from the time I was born. This channel is going to change. It's going to get a lot darker. It's going to get a lot more focused. And that's going to happen depending on how quickly we decide to declare war on Iran. If you've watched any of these channels before, any videos before on this channel, you've probably heard me say when I think things are getting bad enough, I'm going to just post direct action type content, strategies, things of that nature. But basically, we need to prepare and be on standby because we're almost at the point. I don't really care what your opinion is on politics or religion. Personally, Israel as a sovereign state should never have existed. It's not the Israel from the Bible. I'm not very religious, but I'm enough of a Christian to recognize that when Jews chose to sacrifice Jesus, they had lost their status as God's children. I don't have a problem with Jews. I'm not anti-Semitic. I am anti-Israel. I've been pretty upfront about that for a long time, so this isn't suddenly jumping on the bandwagon. I can point out friends I've lost because of views like this. The point is, we cannot get involved, and we've already stirred the pot. We've attacked Iran. Our president sanctioned, allowed it, and now we're going to face retaliation. I was in the city today. I didn't really want to be, but unfortunately, because of the lack of income that I make, I wasn't really able to do what I wanted, which was to take this baby on a road trip. But I couldn't. So I decided to go to all my favorite locations in Chicago. And I noticed there was a Palestinian protest. I'm sure there were other protests, but that was the one that I noticed downtown. And to an extent, yeah, free Palestine. To another extent, I understand sacrifice. Progress is made by sacrifice. And I don't want innocent people to die. But I understand their plight and their desire for freedom, and that clouds their judgment, and then we support terrorist groups like Hamas. I want to view it in the same light for Israel. Obviously, that borders on, the big no-no. But Israel, as it exists, has been in constant turmoil. And if you know anything about their history, they've always been a nomadic tribe. They were given Mount Sinai by Yahweh, but not anything greater, anything further. And again, if you're Christian, you understand how they lost favor with God. But even if you don't, the point is, Israel attacked our country in the 50s, and we just let that go. Now, we had just come off World War II, and we probably didn't want to keep on fighting, and we gave them a little bit of slack, for relatively justified reasons. I was in the Navy, I was a sailor, and I think of it from the frustration of, what if one of my shipmates had died from that attack? I believe there was only 7 sailors who perished. 7 sailors and a ship that was injured. Honestly, I don't think I could let that go. And then I expanded onward, and I think, what if I died? What if I had died on that ship? What would I expect of my family and my friends and my shipmates? On that note, I was a Quad Zero reserve corpsman. I was only in for 2.5 years, and I was forced out. Basically administrative bullshit. I was salty about it for a long time. It really fucked up my mental health. And it wasn't until about 2023 that I feel like I truly transitioned out of the military. And what ended up happening was I was working at a VA, and I was seeing people who required a lot more help than me, and it became cathartic to help them. And what led me to what led me to take over an existent veteran nonprofit and make that the start of my new goals, new drive in life. So what I've noticed over the last 2 years of me doing that is that these veterans are broken, and they're always going to be broken. Being in war changes you. I've had the pleasure or displeasure, depending on how you view it, to have not been in war, to not have been in combat, even though I served between 2015 and 2018, and there was still a high possibility I could have deployed to Afghanistan. But the military broke me enough that I understand just a bit of their perspective as veterans, not as combat veterans, just as people who've served, given something for this country, and didn't get much back in return. And that's why I'm really worried, because I can see what's on the horizon. I can see the new generation of young, broken men. And to be honest, I'm not talking about Gen Z, all right? Me as a millennial, turning 33 today, I was a boy until about 27. And a lot of hard things happened in my life before then that matured me. And after 30, I could confidently say I became a man. And it was at great cost, great sacrifice, great loss. And that was all in the civilian world. How the fuck is the next generation of warfighter going to be successful in any capacity after this conflict? I don't think they are. And I think that's with intent. There's a philosophy I subscribe to that peace can be had, but at a cost. And I'm not talking about monetary and financial. I'm talking about every catalyst, every body, every organization, every event, every country, and the resources to make peace possible. America only knows how to make peace through violence, because we are inherently violent. And I'm okay with that. And I'm one of the few people I know who's very proactive about violence. I'll cover that in another video, but I know it's ironic looking at me. I'm probably not the most intimidating, threatening individual. And I got my ass kicked a lot when I was a kid. Most of the time it was because I was getting jumped, because I was fucking savage. It was brutal. People couldn't fight me one-on-one. That changed. I cooled off. Didn't get in as many fights. It's kind of hard when you wear glasses. You get them knocked off and you get your ass kicked. But that tenacity never fell away. And I guess basically what I'm saying is this channel is now going to be directed towards the promotion of violence. The promotion of peace through that cost. Right now, that cost was the airmen who dropped those bombs. The sailors, soldiers, Marines, and Space Force Guardians, as well as Coasties, who may have made that possible for them. this cost is going to extend much greater in the near future, especially if a declaration of war is English is hard, officiated and officialized. Sorry, my brain's all over the place because there's things and people around, so I'm trying to wrap this video up. When that declaration happens, there's going to be attacks on the home front, and it's going to come from both sources. It's going to come from sleeper cells through Iran, Russia, China, other third parties, and it's going to come from people like me, Americans who do not wish to see brothers and sisters scarred, horribly disfigured, broken, and if not, outright killed, for a conflict we should never have been involved in. And we've let a cult of people manipulate us for too long to become even more warmongering than we already are. We're the United States of America. We were founded by violence, fortified through violence, and solidified our position through violence. Of course, we are your best friend and your worst enemy. Israel knows that. But think about it on an individual level. Do you always want to go to the bar with the biggest, toughest motherfucker who's always just kind of getting involved in fights because he's just that big and capable? You get tired of it. He can take the punches. Maybe you can take some of those punches. But eventually you're going to stop hanging out with that friend going to the bar because you don't want to get into a fight every fucking weekend. That's exactly how we need to take the approach with America. We're that big, dumb motherfucker always ready for a fight. And we have little gremlins bring us out to the fucking bar so we can be their weeknight entertainment. We gotta stop. I just want everyone to be aware that this is not what I've wanted. I've been so prophetic over the last 15 years. It's so depressing. Because it's not millennial doom and gloom. It's foresight and being observant and talking with people across this entire country. Very different positions, both sides of the spectrum, politics, religion, what have you. And through that, I've seen everything that was going to be. And that's why I'm here now, making this, to let you all know that this is not what I've wanted, and I've hoped it wouldn't come to this, but it will. This is not a threat, this is a promise. There will be a positive force of change in the future, but I don't think I am going to be part of it. And I don't think the administration, the government that we have in the United States of America is going to be part of it either. If anything, they'll hamper it, be the complete opposite. So this is a plea to every veteran, to every service member in their community, police, EMS, firefighters. You guys got to stand by, and you have to be ready for what's coming. If that declaration happens, we need to act. I will help coordinate efforts, but I'm no military strategist, I'm no leader. I'm just someone who knows a lot of people and is focused most of his last few years on helping other broken, worse off people than myself. And yeah, it was to help me heal and grow. And now I'm at the point where I can function enough where I want to prevent others from suffering like my veteran population does. Like I do. And maybe that's still better than being dead. But think about that. Some veterans would rather be dead because of everything they fought for over the last 20 years. Being lied to. Probably committing war crimes or questionable actions morally. And then being restrained because we are so inherently violent that top brass has to say no. We have different ROEs. I have no idea what it would have been like if I was in during that time. I turned 18 in 2010. I could have served, but I chose not to. I pussied out in a way, but I was a musician. I was getting better as a musician. I had a band that was making some progress, and I was going to try college. And then I dropped out of college and toured some of the country and released an album. And after all that got wiped away and I had to figure out what I was going to do next, I joined the U.S. Navy at 23. It was 5 years, 2010 to 2015. I could have seen action, could have experienced it, but I didn't. I think life happens for a reason. Things happen to you for a reason. I wasn't supposed to go and see that shit. And maybe it's my mission to make sure others don't. I've always been an inherently violent person. And I'm not gonna lie, there's times where I've had to really restrict myself because it just feels so fucking good. And again, I'm not saying this is a threatening or intimidating individual. I've had my ass kicked. I've had several fucking people taller and stronger than me have to fucking restrain me and beat me because of the tenacity. And I'm just sharing that you don't want that tenacity directed at you. Please, for the love of God, love that all is holy, love of this country, do not go to war with Iran. Do not force us, those who choose to stand by, let everything fucking happen and always say, oh, well, you know, we just want to be left alone. You guys can't do that anymore. And I know there's a lot of cost that could be sacrificed. Maybe you don't want to lose your family. Maybe you don't want to get arrested. Maybe you don't want to die. You don't want to blacklist yourself so you can't work, do anything. That's pretty selfish. And I'm a very selfish individual, so I can call that out. I don't have anything to lose, so it's easy for me, and I will shoulder that burden. But I don't want you to die. I want you to grow up. I want you to have a family. I want you to watch your family grow up. The only way anything is going to happen is through violence. Violence against what may bring us into the end of our civilization. So you have a choice. Will you participate on this journey with me? Or are you going to keep standing by? Stand by to stand by. You're better than that. You are better than most of the civilian population. And they reinforce that into us in the military. You're 1% of Americans who serve. I think statistically only about 27% of Americans can serve. I don't know how I got into that statistic, but I fucking did it. Even as a reservist. You're capable, you're competent, and you know what you need to do, who it needs to be done against. All I'm saying is wait to that declaration, wait to that decision, then we have to strike. Because what else do we have to lose? This. I don't even believe in the whole they have nukes. I just know this is going to turn into a worse Afghanistan. And again, look at it from cost. I just don't think we have enough chips to play this game. And the cards are not looking in our favor. So, consider us on condition standby. And when we get more news, that'll direct what the next few videos and content will be in the future. Happy birthday, me. It's probably after midnight now. I'm not just talking about the time.